The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association presents Freshman Focus. A look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing begins May 12th, with the next generation scheduled for July 4th. By Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. Now here's your host, Roger Houston.
Welcome to another edition of Freshman Focus. Today we're at the historic Delaware County Fairgrounds in Delaware, Ohio, with the racetrack in the background. Today we'll be speaking with trainers Tim Lane and Mike Sweeney here at Delaware. Right now we'll pause for this message and then we'll be back with trainer Tim Lane.
Athletes, they come in all shapes and sizes. They catch, they leap, they run. Some athletes even come with 4 legs and paws and hooves. When these beloved family members need care, remember the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center. Ohio State experts wrote the book on exceptional animal care and know how to get our best friends back on their feet. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center.
Welcome to another edition of Freshman Focus. And I'll tell you one thing, when we do these Freshman Focus early in the year, you have no idea what the weather is going to be like. It's a cool and a damp day in Delaware, Ohio, as we visit today with trainer Tim Lane. Tim, is this normal April weather?
Yeah, it pretty much is. We never know what we're going to get in March and April. Just hope for some decent days to train, and when you get a decent day, you got to train. So that's training in Ohio.
Is this the right place to train with all the bad weather you get in March and April?
Yeah, we can never complain about the track. I mean, a lot of times we do, but we're just typical horsemen. But they do a pretty good job with this track, and I've stayed up here every winter that I've trained, so must not be too bad, or I'd go south.
Overall, how many horses do you have in your stable?
We've got 18 horses right now, all 2- and 3-year-olds except for 2.
Now, is that a good size stable for you?
Yeah, we've had, I think the last 4 years we've had right around 20. We had a bunch of really nice race mares last year, which is different this year from last year. We raced all winter, had a good group of mares, and this year we've had just mostly 2- and 3-year-olds.
7 Ohio breds and 5 of them are geldings?
Yep, 1 Indiana bred and 5 Ohio bred geldings. Yeah, we just, I wait till, later to gild. Most people gild, if they're going to gild them, they gild them right away, but, we just gilded this week, so I wanted to get it done before the temperatures got hot and the flies got bad, so we have geldings now.
With all those being geldings, does it make the training process a lot easier?
A lot easier on the help. These studs, they just now starting to get a little studdy, nickering, but they, these geldings or these studs get a little bitey, and we had one that was just real ornery. And when I see it on the track, where they start nickering and kind of looking at other horses, it's time to get them gilded. Now,
the process of determining what youngsters you have for your barn. I notice you've got a number of them for Emerald Highlands Farm, Bruce Trogdon. Those are probably, I guess, all homebreds, mares that he has on the farm? Yeah, they're all homebreds from Bruce.
He usually don't leave a whole lot of 2-year-olds up here, but ended up with 4 this year, and happy with what I got out of some really good mares, and we got high hopes for them.
You've got a loss for words, and right now he's standing over in Ireland, but he does have what, 1 or 2 crops here in the States?
Yeah, he's got a couple crops here. I've got the 2-year-old I've got a full sister to him, and liked it last year, and she's just had a couple starts so far this year. And but you know, I like him as well. I like the lost for words, you know, gutty little horse that puts in big efforts, and that's why I bred to him.
Now, Bruce, you take the horses that he sends you, but to your other horses, what's the process you go through and to determine what you want for your stable?
Well, I've got, you know, I don't have a whole lot of owners. The owners I've got are really good owners that, you know, we really have to do our homework, and you know, we're only looking at one or two, so do as much homework as I can. I've got a couple homebreds that, you know, the wife breeds, and I'm kind of stuck with them, but you know, we've had a lot of success with them. Our homebreds last year both raced in the Stallion Series and done very well. So,
is the number of 2-year-olds low for your stable?
I think we had 6 last year, and we've got 8 this year. That's a good number for us. So we don't. I like to sit behind them, you know, 3 or 4 times a week each one, and so I can keep an eye on them. And it's easy to do that when you've got lower numbers.
With that few of 2-year-olds, can you develop more time with them?
Yeah, you can, and like I said, this year, you know, we didn't have a whole lot. We only had 1 racehorse all winter, so you know that made it easy to you know, take our time up here. Didn't have to worry about getting you know, to Dayton or Miami Valley to race, and gives you a lot more time, and you can focus on the 2-year-olds a lot easier.
The training process, you break them, turn them out. How do you handle that?
We break them right after, you know, pretty much right after the Ohio sell. We break them. Some of the 2 homebreds, I left them out a couple extra weeks, and then we try to give them a week off in the winter, and pick a week somewhere in February where it doesn't look very good, and get them turned out for a little bit, and then you know, we have them in most of the times. We have some paddocks here that we get them turned out in, but we start fairly early with our babies.
By training horses up here in north compared to taking a stable down to Florida or something, you have to allow for bad weather, so to speak. So have you missed many days in the process? You
know, the worst thing about Delaware, the track is always good. I mean, we had the one big snow, and the next day by 8 o'clock, 9:30, we were on the track. The nicest thing I got here is I'm so close to the track that I usually shovel my own path, and I can get right to the track. Some of the guys are in the back, you know, they miss some ice days, but I'm sure we miss less days than the guys do in Florida, actually, here.
Now, when will you get to the point to qualify these youngsters?
We'll qualify the middle of June. You know, we have qualifiers here, you know, 2 weeks in a row. And I've usually got all of mine ready to qualify that first week here. And I'm not exactly sure what date they're looking at yet, but it's always right about the middle of June.
Makes it a lot easier to have those qualifiers here at Delaware, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You don't have to worry about getting, you know, all 7 or 8, whatever you've got left, to Scioto or someplace to qualify. And they're a little more relaxed here. This is their home track. So, but then again, you know, some of them will take, like the second qualifier, we'll take them to Scioto that may need to get off the track and go to, you know, get some experience.
Process of training, they also got to learn how to ship.
They do. And then, you know, like I said, I've got a couple homebreds. They've shipped here once, home once, and back here once. That's all they've shipped. So we leave a little extra time when we start to get ready to ship them.
We wish you luck with your 2-year-olds this season, and best of success to you.
Well, we sure hope so. I think you know, we've always had small numbers, but we've always had some success in the Sire Stakes and Stallion Stakes. So hope it continues.
Well, we're going to go into the barn now here at Delaware County Fairgrounds and take a look at the horses in their stalls and get some more comments from Tim after these important messages.
Looking for your next champion? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. Sugar Valley's lineup of stallions include world champion Down by the Seaside, Lather Up, the fastest horse in harness racing history, Little Brown Jug champion, Well Said, Catch the Fire, Marseille, plus the newest stallion of the Sugar Valley lineup, Mission Accepted, and returning to Sugar Valley Farm, Creatine. Sugar Valley Farm, the home of champions.
Welcome back for Freshman Focus. This is Dragon Candy by Fear the Dragon out of Candy's a Virgin, and always a virgin mare. Who's the owner on this one?
This is a colt by owned by Emerald Highlands, Bruce Trogdon, out of a really good mare. Nice colt. We just gelded him, but I got high hopes for him. You know, out of that mare, you know, that was a really good mare. So one of Bruce's, all Bruce's mares are nice, but that one especially is a nice mare.
Do you find a certain trait with the Fear of the Dragons?
Yeah, I mean this year, I think last year's crop seemed to me to be a little bit on the smaller side. This year, they seem to got a little more substance to them, and seem to be. I like them better this year than I did last year.
Do they all have a good size?
The 3 of the 4 I got are all put together very well. I got one filly that's a little bit on the frail side, but you know, that's just probably out of that mare.
How's Dragon Candy been in the process of breaking and training?
You know, he's delightful. He's very, very bitey, but he's been a delight on the track.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Dragon Candy. This is a filly pacer, River of Fear by Fear of the Dragon, out of Mississippi River by Western Hanover. You made the statement trying to catch her here in the stall that you'd geld her if you could, but you can't. I
like fillies that have a little attitude. She's got a little bit too much at times, but she's perfect on the track. I wouldn't trade her for anything I've got right now. Get real high hopes for her. I think Bruce even staked her to the breeder's crown. So,
will horses get over that rambunctious attitude?
Yeah, they will. I mean, we haven't started going 2 trips yet. Once you start going 2 trips, you know, they relax a little more and don't have near as much energy. But you know, fillies. You know, I've had some good fillies for Bruce, and you know, I had a mare named Jersey Licious, and she kind of reminds me of her in the stall. Just got a little mean streak to her, but she's all business on the track.
The mare of this one, Mississippi River, goes back to Western Hanover, and he's been a dominant sire of brood mares over the years.
Yeah, very much so. And I know Bruce was high on this filly. That's he had her in the cell. We only bought 1 or 2 back out of the cell out of like 21. So he was high on this mare to begin with. So.
Is she living up to expectations?
She is so far. I'm like I say, she's my favorite so far. So, but just does everything right, everything real easy. You know, some babies. You've got to chase them at this point to get them where you want them to be, but she does it. She does it all real easy and does it on her own.
The 2-year-old filly pacer, River of Fear. This is Don't Fear, Don't Tell, another 2-year-old gelding by Fear of the Dragon, out of Show and Tell by Village Jolt. Big size colt.
Yeah.
Gelding.
Yeah, he's both of my Fear of the Dragon colts are good size, put together very well. This one we got a late start on. He was one that Bruce did bid back in from the Lexington sale that stayed in Lexington for an extra month. So I got started late with him, but I think within the first 3 days we had harnessed, hobbles, tongue tie, and going the right way on the track. So very smart learner. Is coming along, is caught up with the rest of them, and we getting along pretty well with him.
You said 3 days you got all that accomplished. Is that kind of rare?
It is rare for me. I usually line drive a couple days and then harness, go to the track without hobbles for about the first 2 weeks. But this colt was behind, so I decided to put him on the fast track, and he accepted everything we gave him. So happy with that.
Even though he was delayed a month in the training process, he's caught up with the others?
He's caught up with everything else and does it fairly easy.
Don't fear, don't tell. This is another gelding, Walking on Water by Santa Fe Beach Boy out of Lord, I Apologize, and On the Attack mare. Walking on Water. How'd you come up with that name?
Well, the wife names all the homebreds. The wife names, and as you can tell from Lord, I apologize. She's her dad's an Episcopal priest, and she has a lot of religious themes to a lot of them. So but she named one down here Hellfire and Holy Water, and now this one's Walking on Water. So I don't know where she comes up with the names, but I let her do that and just agree and go on.
Walking on Water maybe should be exceptionally good when we get an off racetrack.
Yeah, well, we can hope that that happens. He's got that mare is really produced. She's just a homebred that we raced. Actually, Herbie Levan raced that mare for me while I was doing a little training and racing, and that mare is produced. For being a homebred, she's produced pretty well for us.
Now, you've been around this one since she foaled and everything. Do you find the homebreds that have that early attention are a little easier to break sometimes?
These two homebreds this year were very easy to break, and I do, because when I mess with them out home, if I've got a harness out home, even when they're yearlings or something, sometimes I'll just throw a harness on them, and when they come in here, they're ready to go to the track. So, yeah, it's easier for me anyway.
It makes a lot of sense if you can do it when they're real young and such, and they're used to it then.
Yep, you can always tell the ones that get the extra attention, go through a cell, and the ones that are homebreds that don't get any attention. It makes it a lot tougher. Is
there any attitude change once you bring them to the fairgrounds, though?
No, I wouldn't say attitude, but it's always something new. Anytime a horse sees anything new, it takes them a while to get used to it. I mean, the worst thing out here is, people will put chairs up on the fence, and we'll be going by them and we won't see them, but a horse will pick up a brand new chair just like that, and they'll shy from it, but they pick stuff up a lot easier than we do.
What have you been with your 2-year-olds?
I've been 24 with all of my 2-year-olds. We'll start, backed off this week because we gelded a bunch of them, but we'll start 2 trips next week and hopefully get on down.
This is Walking on Water. This is Low Rider, down by the seaside gelding on the Warrow K by Real Desire. You're only down by the seaside.
Yep. I was lucky enough to get this horse from Alan Keith, Jim Stanball, and Milt Lehman on this horse, and I've had some success for those 3 owners, and they wanted to know if I would train this colt, and I said I would love to, out of a very good mare. Warrow K was a very good mare, and so we got him in, and he's been a real project from day one. Just not very good gaited. Attitude was bad. We ended up gelding him and taking chips out of an ankle, and he's just starting to come around. He's still not perfect, but we're getting there.
Is he behind the others?
Nope, he's up with the others. Yep, but just been a project from day one. I've sat behind him every time he's went to the track because nobody else wanted to jog him. Oh, hey, don't chew on that.
Yeah, no, don't chew on the microphone cord. That ownership group, they've been around and together for a number of years and had a lot of success.
They have. All 3 of those guys. Actually, my first horse that I ever owned was with Milt Lehman's dad and Don Lehman. So, we go way back. That's when I think Arledge was training him there then. So, but we go way back, and we've had some success, so it works out really well.
You're down by the seaside. This is Low Rider. This is, I got to get this right now, a gelding pacer, Jack, Jim, Betty, Karen, by Lost for Words out of Positive Drew.
Post Time Drew.
What?
Post Time Drew.
Post Time Drew.
Yep.
By McCardle. The name, Jack, Jim, Betty, and Karen?
Well, that's, like I say, the wife names all the homebreds, and that is my mom and dad and her mom and dad. That's where that come up with. So, my mom and dad have been gone a long time, and she just lost her dad here in the last 10 days. So, hopefully he pans out.
An announcer's nightmare, I would think. I'm just trying to think an announcer can really have a lot of fun with this name over the years, and not to wish it on you, but if you make a break, you don't know who to blame it on.
That's right. That's right. We got four suspects.
Yeah. Training process with this one been ordinary or exceptional?
Yeah, pretty easy. Was good gaited from the go, and just a big growthy type horse. He's maybe a little sore here and there, but he's still growing. So we usually take our time with our homebreds, and since I own this, with the Divine boys. The Divines are from Marysville, big name in Marysville. Steve was actually recruited me and was my college football coach. And he was a scout for the Giants for maybe 15 years. So very good friends with the Divines, and their son and the two sons and the dad own a little piece of this horse.
I'll tell you one thing, be a lot of discussion of family reunions and such as this one, especially if you get to be a champion of some sort.
Yeah.
Jack, Jim, Betty, and Karen going to the races. This is a filly pacer, Fear of the Delight by Fear of the Dragon, and a Glorious Delight by Better's Delight. Fear of the Delight, little gray roan here.
Yeah, if you're going to train for Bruce Trotter, you're going to have some gray horses. So Bruce has been in love with the grays for a long time. I've got a gray 2-year-old, a gray 3-year-old, and a gray 4-year-old for him. And this filly got right after the sale, got very, very sick. She lost a little bit of time, but she's come back and she's done everything we've asked her. She's going with I talked about earlier about the filly that I like the most, that Bruce has staked her to the Breeders' Crown. And this filly stays right with her the whole time. I don't know if she's going to be as good as that filly, but she's doing everything right.
You talk about the grays, or at least I tell people, and they say, well, how do you pick horses to bet on and such like that? And I just always bet the gray.
Yeah.
I wonder where that came from.
Well, there was a horse named Bet the Gray that Bruce owned.
Oh, okay.
I think Virgil Morgan might have trained it for him.
Yeah.
Always Bet the Gray. He's not racing anymore. I think Bruce might have bred a couple of mares to him. So that might have been where the name comes from.
I mean, this is a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it. Are the grays any different from the bays and the browns inside the color?
Just tougher to keep cleans all. Seems like they're always, they lay in any kind of dirt and they show dirt real bad. But, other than that, a lot of people, they won't train a gray. I've had so many for Bruce, and we've had some decent ones, so I don't see any difference in them.
Will the color change over the years?
A little bit here and there, yeah. Especially, from when they're born to 2-year-olds, they'll change quite a bit, but it won't change much from here on out.
Don't forget, racing fans, always bet the gray. This is Fear of the Delight. I'd like to thank Tim Lane and all the stable personnel for their help this morning in this section of this week's Freshman Focus. We're going to make a trip now down to the Jugette barn, where trainer Mike Sweeney will talk about his 2-year-olds on Freshman Focus after these messages.
Racing returns to Eldorado Scioto Downs May 12th. Catch the excitement all summer long, Tuesday through Saturday. First post time is 3:15. Mark your calendars to see the future stars with the $150,000 Next Generation July 4th. The top 2-year-old pacers and trotters. Horse players earn points with the new Caesars Rewards program. Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing returns May 12th.
Welcome back to the Delaware County Fairgrounds and Freshman Focus, as we've joined Mike Sweeney here at the Jugette barn on the Delaware County Fairgrounds. Mike, how many 2-year-olds you got in training this year?
We've got 5.
They're all Ohio breds.
Every one of them.
Is this pretty normal, 5 2-year-olds?
No, since we've moved down here, we've kind of cut down. So usually it's 5 to 7. 7, usually about the average.
Overall, how big is your operation?
Usually around 20 to 25 head.
How did you rate the Jugette barn?
We had to work a deal.
Yeah.
We do the maintenance. We do all the.
Yeah.
If you're coming in the summer and you see all the flowers, I mean, it's us.
Yeah.
We do all the maintenance and do all. We fix everything. And
You've actually put a lot of money into the Jugette barn.
I've put a lot of money into the Jugette barn, but it's worth it. I think it's one of the nicest barns. I think it's the nicest barns on the ground.
Do you have to move out when the fair comes into town?
No, that's why. What it is like they'll call me the day of the jug at draw, and they tell me there's 10.
Yeah.
The 10 stalls will be swept, power washed, disinfected. The gates are up. Everything is ready. The spit box is ready, and we do it.
Yeah.
And it's worked out, I think, good for everybody.
Yeah.
They don't have to do any maintenance, no flower planting. That's all done by pretty much my wife.
How do you get your 2-year-olds? Do the owners come to you, and do you own a piece of all of them?
Most of these are all homebreds. All the colts are in partnerships, and every one of them were bred by one of our partners. So we're
You don't really go to the sale then?
once in a while, but not very often. Like when we were in Michigan, we had 15 broodmares, so, and we had our own studs, so we never went to the sales. But here, not too many.
Do you still have the farm up in Michigan?
No, I sold the farm in Michigan, and the broodmares are down here at the breeding farm.
I also note, as far as the 2-year-olds are concerned, you got 3 fillies and 2 geldings. We found out a lot of the stables geld their colts early on just to make it easier to train them and get them to the races.
I geld mine when we had them roast. We would geld them right after we weaned them.
Really?
They get just as big. They don't get the big stud neck. They don't get them big shoulders. They get just as tall and long. And I think it's sounder. They don't have to carry all that extra weight up front.
It makes it a lot easier training too.
It's a lot easier on the grooms.
Yeah. Being homebreds, are they kind of broke before you even bring them into the fairgrounds?
Yes. Yeah. The people like we use, Marvin Raybert's got a lot of ours, and Eli Miller, and they do a great job with them, and sure
makes your
makes
job a lot easier.
Yeah, because when we were at home, when you'd start training and breaking 15 of these things, it was.
Okay, so when does the training process begin for Mike Sweeney?
I usually get rolling with them after the fair. I don't like to bring them in during the fair, and once everything's done here, we'll go through, power wash the whole barn and disinfect it, and then we start bringing them in. It's just easier.
Most others don't start until November or December.
Yeah, a lot of them don't, but we like to put a lot of miles on them before we train. I mean, they get a lot of jog miles.
Overall, any estimate on how many miles these 2-year-olds have in a year?
Thousands.
Really?
Yes. Throughout the year.
Yeah. When do you go into the turning process?
I'll turn and go a little bit the right way, and you might sprint them a quarter or something. But I usually don't start turning them until the first of the year, because I like to have a lot of miles, and I never want them tired when they're finished. And when you start training them down, I never want them tired at the end of the mile. So the extra jog miles.
Yeah.
Do
you shoot for the same time as all other trainers for qualifying?
Depends on the horse. Some horses are behind, some aren't. Usually with the way, usually we start them at the fair first, and then Brian usually has qualifiers here, so we can get a fair race in them, and then we can bring them back here and qualify them, and then go to another fair. And then usually by that time the sire stakes are starting in July, and the Buckeye, and then you can make a decision on which way you want to go.
So you stake them to everything, and hopefully you got a sire stake.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know when you're.
Yeah.
You never know, and so now at 3, it's different. But at 2, we pretty much stake them to everything.
It gets pretty expensive though, doesn't it?
It's very expensive. That's why most of ours are owned in partnerships. It cuts the expense down on everyone, and you know, if you like to own one horse, you can own a quarter of 4, and if one don't make it, you know, you've got the rest of 3. And
You make it a point to own a piece of everything?
yes, I own a piece of all except for with one man. He's a great man. He doesn't. Him and his wife are the only partners they want.
You got 2 trotters, 3 pacers. Is there a preference?
No. I like them all. I don't prefer geldings or colts over fillies either.
Yeah. Thanks for the sit-down interview, and now we're going to take a look at the 5 2-year-olds in the Sweeney operation. This is Honest Nation, a gelding by Western Vintage. Who are the owners?
The owners on this one is Marion Beachy and me and Ron King from Michigan.
Now, they owned horses with you in the past?
Yes, we've had horses together for years.
Okay. What about Honest Nation?
He's 2. He's done everything right. He's not a bad-looking colt. I've been in 29 with him, and he's doing everything good so far.
No problems then?
Not a bit. No.
His size for a Western Vintage, is he normal?
I think he's a little bit big for a Western Vintage. He's bigger than the ones I've had in the past.
Do you have to train big horses different than you do smaller horses?
Yes, some you do, some you don't. Some take more work than others. Some take less work. It just depends on the way they're built and their muscular.
Do they have certain problems that others wouldn't have?
Usually their joints, especially when they're 2, because their joints aren't closed. And,
So they're just like a human.
They're just exactly like humans. Now we blister all ours. I just got done blistering them. We blister them 2 to 3 times a year, and they've already been done twice. And then we paint knees, hocks, every day to bring blood in there to close them quicker.
Some people may not know what you mean by blistering.
It's we use cedar oil, and it's a real harsh blister. And what it does is their legs all blow up, but it brings all the blood to that area. And the more blood in that area, the quicker the joints close.
So it stimulates the blood flow.
That's exactly what it is. And we do paint them every day, and but that's why we paint them every day. We use balls and some hot paint.
For the non-horse person, they might think blistering's a little rough on horses, but
well,
it's really not.
For a couple days it bothers, but it's nothing, nothing that's going to really hurt them or anything. It'd be like you getting a little blister on your finger.
Okay. This is Honest Nation, and Mike Sweeney's hoping to be real honest this season. This is a full count known as Don's Count and trotting gelding. Who owns this one?
This one's owned by Irvin Miller out of Sarasota, Florida, and me. And
full count. He doesn't get the notoriety that some of the bigger named horses get there.
He has probably been, to me, one of the most honest trotting studs in the state of Ohio. He hasn't bred the best mares, but he always has good racehorses.
Have you had some good full counts over the years?
Yes, I have. We had a couple that were champions, the fair racing champions and stuff, and we haven't had a lot of them, but we've got a brother to him coming next year, and another sister to another one. We'll have several of them when it's done.
Do the full counts have a certain trait that they go with the lineage?
They're usually dark, pretty dark colored. They're a little hot, but they're usually pretty sound horses, and
they all seem to have good size to them.
Yes, they do. This is he's really a big colt, and but they can be a handful at times.
Any problems during the training process?
This one wants to go faster than he should.
So how do you control that?
All you do is grab onto him a little bit. To me, I'd rather, I don't know, it's easier to ruin a good horse than because you get going too fast and they're not up to it.
Can you change the equipment to slow them down a little? Or
Yeah, just sometimes an open bridle, sometimes a different bit.
give you more control?
Yep, and you know I've never had one that's been a runaway or anything. Just they can just get a little hot. That's all.
Well, we certainly hope that Don's Count has a big count coming this summer.
I do too.
This is Santa Fe Bay, a filly pacer by Santa Fe Beach Boy. All your horses seem like they're so well mannered, you don't even have a hold of him.
That's what we've been known for years.
Really?
Yeah, we don't guarantee them fast, but we guarantee they're broke.
Who owns this one?
This is owned by Miller Racing and Wall Brother Racing and me.
How's he been in the training process?
She's done good. We've been in 29 with her. She's done everything we've asked. She's pretty good gaited.
Now, if you could teach her to talk,
She would do the interview herself.
yeah, she's not afraid of the microphone, that's
No,
for sure.
she's not. She's, huh? Come here. She's a pretty nice filly. She's a big filly for her age,
Yeah.
and but she's done everything well. We hope. He hasn't had a lot of colts, so I don't
Oh,
know.
no, we can't have her chewing on the cord.
Hey,
You know, it's wild, but we've done a lot of these last year and this year, but I've never seen any horses, now this is 3 in a row, that just stood there and let us talk about them and not act up and anything.
yeah, they're.
You think that goes back to the being homebreds and a lot of attention early on?
Yeah, I think so. I really do, because ours were all that way. When we in Michigan we raised all our own. They got attention right from day one, and where are you going? So they I do, I really do.
This is the Santa Fe Beach Boy, filly pacer, Santa Fe Bay. This is Rumor Has It by Well Said, another filly, and this is the one I kind of liked when I saw him out on the jog track.
Yeah, she's a nice filly. She's got a good temperament. She likes to pass horses already. So.
Any problems training though?
No, she's been absolutely great to train. She's done everything well. She's been in 28 and doing everything well. Wears no boots. Good gaited. Got a nice long hobble.
Clean as a whistle.
Yep, she does everything we've asked.
Now you
Except
own
for
a
behave.
piece of her. Who
Yeah,
are the
I
other?
own-
Who are the other owners?
Wall's brothers own part of her. Don't do that. And Miller's own part of her, and Dr. Lori Gallen owns part of her, and then me.
Well, folks, that's 4 horses and 4 well-mannered
No.
2-year-olds.
So, but nope, she's a nice filly. We like her.
Rumor has it, she's a doll baby. This is a 2-year-old filly trotter, Uncle Pete's Secret by Uncle Peter. And Mike, another one that's well-mannered and such, but this is your wife's baby.
Yep, this is my wife's project. She does all the care and stuff on this one.
So Patty, she also owns a piece of this one.
Yes, she does. Her and Jeff Limmer, and she's a nice filly. She's good size, and
Now, you
hopefully-
say good size, but I see one thing about her that you don't see very often on trotters anymore. It's got toe weights on.
Yes. Yep. I put the toe weights on her the other day, and I thought they've helped her quite a bit.
I think last year all the trotters we did, we only had 1 horse that wore toe weights, and this is the first one I've seen this year.
I think that's old school.
For the folks that may not know why do you put toe weights on a horse?
I was trying to get her to reach out a little bit more and break over a little quicker. She was interfering a little bit behind, so we put the toe weights on her and got her to break over a little quicker, and she was starting to reach out and helped her gait quite a bit, I thought.
Has she done everything you've wanted her to do?
So far, she's done everything good. She's pain in the hind end around in the barn, but
Yeah.
she just wants this.
Well, folks, you've seen history here today on Freshman Focus. 5 of the most well-mannered young horses that we've had last year and early this season. They're all well broken. I think that speaks volumes for Mike and Patty and all of your employees.
It does. We've got really blessed with good employees, and that's what helps.
This is Uncle Pete's Secret. Well, that wraps up another edition of Freshman Focus. Of course, we want to again thank Tim Lane and Mike Sweeney for being a part of this edition of Freshman Focus. And we hope that you will join us again next week at the same time for another edition of Freshman Focus.
This has been Freshman Focus, a look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing begins May 12th with the next generation scheduled for July 4th. By Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standard bred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. Freshman Focus is a presentation of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.